Tortoise.
Grind.
Maintain.
Triggers.
How are these four words relatively related? Let's find out. Welcome everyone to Relatively Related. I'm your host, Terry.
And I'm Troy.
I'm Trudy.
And I'm Tari.
And this is episode 3 of our health and fitness series.
Yeah, and I can't believe, it's the third in our health, but I can't believe we made it to our 10th episode, guys. So,
wow, that's
Yep,
really good.
That's pretty
Congrats,
good.
guys.
Yeah, that's
Thanks
great,
for listening,
man.
family.
Thanks for listening. So, how was everyone week? How is it going with your challenge?
Yeah, my challenge is going really well. As you guys know, I took a break from, last week. But now I'm a lot I think I'm doing well now. Like I'm a lot more consistent, so that's good. Yeah.
That's good.
For me, I'm seeing, improvements once again. After we had that little weekend with the birthday and some cake, we got
after
back
you
on.
made me eat cake.
We got
No
back
one make
on.
you.
Right? Thank you. I didn't put the food in your mouth. But yeah, we're back on track. So yeah, I feel good about that.
Yeah, it's been up and down. First week was really good. Lost a bunch of weight. Second week, I actually gained like a pound or two. But then this last third week, I'm back down again. So yeah.
Altogether, how much have you lost? So
Let's
far?
save that for the final.
Fair enough.
They want to know the overall.
For
But
me,
it's been good though. I will say I'm in the positive so far. So
that's good.
Yeah.
Do you think you'll be able to make it by the end? Or?
I have to push really hard, but I could, but I have to push really hard. Yeah.
Yeah. For me, this week, I know I was telling you guys that I actually twisted my ankle on one of the days. I have no idea how it happened. Could be old age or whatnot, but I definitely twisted my ankle during the week, and I was a little bit worried that I wouldn't be able to run. Like, think about that. I twisted my ankle, and I'm worried that I'm not going to be able to run. I wasn't worried about my ankle.
Not at all.
Just like you're gonna sacrifice the ankle to run.
You have priorities.
Yeah, but it wasn't as bad as I originally thought. I still ran on it on the morning that I twisted it, and it wasn't bad. So
Did you feel it after?
no. So
Okay.
it could just be like a
Maybe a little sprain.
a little sprain. So
It's good
next
stuff.
week is a big week for me. My fully half marathon,
Wow.
21.1 kilometer.
Do you have a goal for how long you think that would take?
Originally I didn't, because I was just like, the main thing was just getting it done, right? So, but right now, just seeing how I've been tracking, and you can see the improvement week by week, and my practicing have been working. I'm just shooting for under 2 hours, which
Okay.
if I hit that, I'll be happy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's how it is.
2 hours straight.
Just non-stop running.
Running.
Troy, you should come join me.
Yeah, I'll think about that.
You'll bike beside him.
Yeah, I'll bike
Yeah.
beside you.
That'd be fun. Yeah. So what do you have for us today? Terry?
So this week is avoiding relapse, right? There were third in the series. So when I mention avoiding relapse, what do you guys think about?
Think about alcoholics, avoiding relapse.
I think about an individual who is actively trying to just put like barriers in place in order for them to not, relapse.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think Troy hit the nail on the hammer. I'm not gonna add much to that. I think the people put things in place so you don't sort of go back to where you started.
Did you say hit the nail on the hammer?
Yeah. I think the hammer on the nail.
Yeah, hit the hammer.
I mean, you can hit a hammer with a nail.
You can.
Is that what you're trying to do, Tari?
No, it's not really
okay.
practical.
Okay, I was wondering.
Yeah. So for me, it just means that you're not going back to where you were, right? It's understanding the cues, understanding what could potentially make you fall. So just knowing that. And that being said, just leading right into my word, which is tortoise, right? And I don't know if you guys know about the story, the tortoise and the hare.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I've been reading a lot of story for my daughter at night, right? And one of them is tortoise and the hare, and in it, it's all about the tortoise racing against the hare. Obviously, when you first look at that, it's like the tortoise is so slow, and the hare he has a advantage. There's no way that a tortoise can beat a hare in a natural foot race. But in the story, the tortoise was able to win. And he wasn't able to win because he was technically faster than the hare. He was able to win because he was able to do it slow and sturdy. Whereas with the hare, he was sleeping along the road and he fell asleep because he was so overly confident. And at the last minute, while he was sleeping, the tortoise ran past and won it for the finish line. And this is exactly how I relate my journey is that um, just transitioning to being healthy. I wanted to just do it. Well, originally, obviously, you wanted to lose the weight, but I think in the previous podcast, I mentioned that my intention was never to lose weight, right? My intention was always to find something that I can maintain throughout the whole process, right? And that's exactly what I did. I was able to find something that I can do in out daily. And with that, even though it wasn't as quickly as I wanted it to be, it definitely helped me maintain it throughout where I was able to lose consistently 1 or 2 weight every week, right? So what do you guys think about that?
Yeah. No, go ahead, try. You're about to say something.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just thinking the tortoise and the hare, that's a good analogy for like what we're talking about today, which is the kind of like staying on it, staying on the grind, maintaining, doing what you need to do to keep going, right? And it's a good point because oftentimes when I know we've all talked jokingly like we wish that like you can just exercise and get home and you see the 5 pounds off of you, or you just eat well for like a couple of days and you immediately see the results of it. But the truth is, in reality, that's not how like weight loss or like switching to exercising or living healthy works. It's like there might be ups and downs. Troy, you had a week where you weren't as energized to do it, but then this week you kind of got back and did what you need to do, right? So it's kind of like it's good to just know that we should stay steady and not just try to like do it all at once. There's no magic pill, as they say, right?
Yeah, and while we were doing that, I was able to find a research that was recently done by the Deathflex University in Philadelphia, and that was done in 2017, right? And what they did, they examined data on 183 overweight and obese adults, and it was a weight loss program with meal replacement provided along with goals and calories monitoring and exercise. They were interested in the study that makes some people less successful in weight loss program and identifying predictors that can improve treatment outcome in the future. So they did that over 2 years, and what they found out was that people who fluctuated initially within the 6 and 12 weeks of weight loss, they were a lot poorer than people who had a long-term weight control at 12 and 24 weeks. So what it just, for example, what this is pretty much saying is that someone who lost 4 pounds 1 week, then regain 2 pounds, then lose 1 pound the next week, fared way worse than someone who just lost 1 pound for that entire 3 weeks. Now, even though that it's only 3 pounds they're losing throughout that 3 weeks, they fared a lot better than someone who fluctuate throughout. So, what do you guys think about that?
Yeah, I think that's definitely something that a lot of people they tend to, I guess, that's the stumbling block for them, because like
Yeah.
they don't necessarily, they're like, yeah, I'm doing the work or whatever, but you're not being as consistent with it, and then your weight is fluctuating or whatever it is fluctuating. Like the key to being successful is that consistency. You have to have that.
Yeah, you got to stick with it. Like I was talking with someone, like I think it was today, and they were saying that like they worked so hard over the past like week or two, but now they're gonna just like go home and eat like ice cream and stuff, right? But versus someone who's like, okay, I'm gonna be consistent. Like I had a rough day. I've been working out. I've been doing what I need to do, so I'm gonna keep doing that. And keep going, keep aiming for my goals. So I
Do
think
we know the person you're talking about? By any chance? I'm just wondering.
Yeah, we do. Should we tell the audience? It'll be rude. We're just laughing. I feel like we should tell the audience. Terry,
yeah, do you know that person, Terry?
I do know that person. I do know that person.
Who is that person, Terry?
That person, it's someone sitting in this room, isn't it?
Well, which one? Which one specifically is it, Terry? Tell us.
I think it's a person with white headphones, right?
So, yeah.
Terry's the only person wearing white headphones, by the way.
No, I just thought it was interesting. I know you're talking about how you work hard and stuff, so I'm just kind of joking too. But I think it was interesting that like the consistency built up over time is better than just losing a bunch of weight.
Yeah, the main thing is that finding something that works for you, finding something that you can do. As I mentioned, I don't think you should see anything as a diet. You should just see it as a lifestyle,
Yeah.
something that you can do every day for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
The reason why I don't believe in diet, there's two reasons why I don't believe in that. Like, I really enjoy food. So I never want to limit myself to what food I can eat or anything like that. I just wanted to find something where I can maintain it. The another thing is that why I wanted to find something where I can be done for the rest of my life. I don't want to have any alteration, right? So what they concluded with this research was that participants would maybe trying to lose weight as quickly as possible, so they sometimes have big weight loss, but this leaves them hungry and more likely to fall off track. They regain some of their weight and then try to lose as much as they can. It is possible that the variation in weight loss from 1 week to the next slows down overall weight loss, making it harder for a person to achieve long-term weight loss. Yeah, so that's what they're saying, right? That it's harder to keep maintain it if you fluctuate so much, whereas if you're just losing a little by little. With my process was that I never lost a lot of weight within 1 week, right? I never, like, the most I may have lost was like maybe 1 or 2 pounds if I'm lucky. But throughout, I've just been losing weight. Week by week, I'm just maintaining it. And it was a little bit frustrating at first, to be perfectly honest, where, you just want to hit your goal that you set for yourself and you want it to happen quickly. But it's better to just have that where you're just maintaining something that you can do, where it's something that fluctuates up and down.
Yeah, but even if you did, like, some people who started with a big weight, they would lose more weight faster.
Yeah, that's something you have to expect. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So even if you did lose a lot of weight,
that's
at
a
first,
good point.
the key point is the consistency, right?
And it's during the maintenance phase. That's what,
That's a
like,
good
especially
point.
with this study, that's like what it's really looking at. Like, for the long term, it should be like a consistent kind of weight loss. Because when you initially said, like, if I have a lot of fat to lose, I would, like, comparing myself on a weight loss journey to, let's say, someone who's 300 pounds. That 300-pound person, they're going to, like, drop weight, like, so fast in the beginning. But overall, we should both have that kind of consistency.
Yeah, and you shouldn't feel bad. Like, if you measure, if you're part of a group and like one person is losing like 5-10 pounds a week, and you're only losing 1 or 2, you shouldn't feel bad because like the body weight where you're starting from, and also their lifestyle before. Some people could have just only been eating junk food, right?
And then now you switch.
It's like you're gonna lose a lot, right?
Just be the tortoise, right?
Yeah,
just slow and steady. Eventually, it's gonna win the race. Why?
I was just thinking tortoise don't always win the race, but it's all right.
But in this, they do, right? Like they do win the race. So setting on a plan that you can maintain week in, week out, even if it means consistently losing only about half a pound a week, right? It may take longer time to get to your ideal weight, but you will be able to maintain this lifestyle for a longer period of time.
Yeah. Good stuff. That makes a lot of sense. I know Trudy had mentioned to us in the past about like, I think the concept of like people who do these like yo-yo
diets. Yeah, those like that's where it's really bad because then you're losing like these big amounts of weight, but then you're doing the restrictive type of eating, like where you're not eating the things that you really enjoy. So then now you're like, when you get that opportunity to eat something that you enjoy, you kind of go crazy, right? So it's that's like where the yo-yo dieting.
That reminds me of when we went on the cruise. Like, I mean, I hadn't eaten anything like really bad in a while. I just went crazy on the cruise, man. I was like a kid in a candy store.
For the cruise, I purposely lost a lot of weight for the cruise. And I was like one of the lowest I've been in a while, right? I think I was like 170. So I was and I'm like, I'm gonna gain like 9 to 10 pounds over.
Making allowance for it. Yeah.
And I hit my goal. I did gain that pounds.
I guess that's one other way. But that was a fun time. But it's kind of like it's that concept where you're you restrict yourself so much that when you do get something, it's like, oh my gosh, like this is so amazing. I remember just one final example on that. This past week we took our son into like the toy store, right? And since the pandemic, like it's been like 5 months, we used to just go walk and not buy like anything, but just for him to see the different toys and stuff, right? And this was his first time in like at least 5 months. And like I was with him and Trudy went to do something. When he saw the toys, he's like, oh my gosh, this is so amazing. This is amazing. This is amazing. It's like he's been restricted from even seeing toys for so long, right? In the stores and you know, aren't you guys seeing that in society too? People who were in quarantine for so long, now people are out there just going crazy, right? So
that's very true.
There's going to be never mind.
Let's not say it.
How did I know exactly where that was going? There's going to be a lot of babies next year? Yeah? That's what you're going to say, Terry? Go ahead. Tell the truth. Shame
That's
the devil.
exactly what I was going to say. There's going to be a lot of babies coming out of these quarantines.
People are very, 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 very bored.
Yeah.
But it's good. They're staying on their grind. And that's my topic for this week is, staying on your grind. So I just want to start this off by asking you guys this question. What's something that you were grinding for that you didn't get? I want to get a story from each of you about something that you grinded for and you did not get. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm tempted, just like you were, to say the past tense of grind is ground. Yeah, I was thinking that in my head too. But to answer your question, I remember I was trying really hard. Like in law school, there's these things called OCIs. So they're like on-campus interviews. So it's a time in second year of law school where you do these interviews that you find out what jobs you're going to get after the end of the third year. So it's like a year and a half in advance. You're really putting together all your resumes, all your everything, your application together for that future job, right? And the good thing about that is that it's called on-campus interviews, so it happens on campus. Mm-hmm. So all of the, because of the school that we went to, like all of the big firms in Toronto, downtown Toronto, they would come to our campus to do interviews. So they're looking for the top lawyers or whatever, the corporate lawyers or whatever different areas. And it's like a crazy time because it's, you guys know speed dating. It's basically like that. You have 20 minutes with a firm and then you go to the next firm. They have their representative. So it's like, it's madness.
Whoa.
People go crazy, like the students freak out about it and stuff. And it's like, my future is in the hands of this week, of this one day or this couple of days or whatever, right? So I remember like preparing so much for it, like getting all my stuff together, getting all my resumes, my references, my cover letters, everything, sending it out. Then I got back, and then you get an email saying how many on-campus interviews. So I got those, right? And then so on that day, I know, okay, for example, I have 7 on-campus interviews. So I know, okay, I have 7 dates in that one day. And I was like all ready, dressed nice and everything. Like, and the thing is, this is like something, is a culmination of like months of work, right? You've, because they look at your first year grades and, you know, all of your work, your extracurricular activities and all of that stuff. So this was a culmination of all of it. And I'm like, okay, I have these interviews. I'm just going to give it my best. And I'm like, I know I'm a good interviewee, right? Like I know I'm good. I can talk to people when in settings like that. So I felt really confident that at least one of those I would get the job, right? And yeah, I found out a couple of weeks later. You know how you find out you don't get a job, right? You don't hear back from them. So,
like, well, we'll be in contact. No.
Yeah. So it's like it didn't work out, and I felt disappointed because I put a lot of work into it and I didn't get anything. So that was a lot of grinding and it didn't pay off at all. So yeah, thanks for bringing me back there. That was a very traumatic moment.
It's good. Now we have you reliving these traumatic things. Good. Now, Trudy, moving on to you.
So for me, I guess a time when I would grind.
When
you were grinding.
There's no results. Yeah. I guess the quickest example I could think of was like, let's say with the wedding, when our family joined the gym and we would go. I had like a personal trainer. I was like, yes, this is gonna be amazing. And yeah, I really worked hard. I thought I worked hard. And then at the end, he's like, okay, let's do the end weight. And he was like, oh, you lost like, I don't know, 8 pounds. And I was just like, that's it.
Oh,
like,
that's
you
not
know,
bad.
like for all this work I did, I don't know. I'm just saying
your
like
biggest failure is losing 8
No,
pounds.
I'm not saying this is my biggest failure. Like I'm saying that's the quickest one I can tell you.
Where you grind.
And yeah, it's like where you know you worked hard, like you sweat, like you did everything you thought you were supposed to do, and yeah, it just didn't pan out. That was mine.
What about you, Terry?
So for mine is it's a running one.
Oh my God. I'm running again. Guys, he has a life other than running.
So I did this 5K, and my first one, I did 22 minutes in the 5K, right? So my whole goal was that there was a next one coming up, so I wanted to improve it, right? So I did all that they said to do, you know, have your interval training, do long runs, try to get your speed up there, get your endurance up there. So I really worked hard at it because my goal was, even if it's 1 second less, I was going to get there. And we had like a good 6 weeks to improve on that 5K. So I did all that work, and then on the day of my second 5K, I hit the exact same number that I did previously. So it just
so your failure is that you got the same time.
I got but the point is
not that bad.
I don't know why he's judging everyone to the stories here.
She lost 8 pounds. He actually still got the same time. But I didn't get a job.
Terry's comparing.
Stop comparing. Okay.
But the point is that I really did put in the work.
Yeah, that's the point.
And I did think I had a strategy going in. Okay. Because the first one, I went out like really fast, right? So I was like ahead of everyone. I was able to finish first and everything like that. So my second one, I'm just like, all right, this time I'm just going to maintain it throughout. But at the end, I didn't have that kick that I normally do. My legs was about to give out on me. So I'm just like, I was really disappointed. And when I'm running to the finish line, I'm like, at least I'll be able to get a better time. And then after I hit the same exact time, it was just like, what was the point of putting in all that work? I should have just done nothing because I would have been the same place, right? So yeah, that was my.
And that's a bad feeling when you grind and you don't get the results. It's like, why did I do all that work? I could have just not done anything and be at the same point, right?
It's true, but, and I'm so happy you said that. The thing is, what I learned about when you grind is that you always get something out of it, right? No matter what, even if you fail. There's this quote that says, failure isn't the opposite of success. It's a part of it, right? So we need to like realize that, okay, when we do grind, we're gonna mess up, or we're gonna fail sometimes, and that's okay. That's completely fine. The thing is, you can't stop
The grind.
Stop the grind. You have to stay on your grind, because yes, you may, get a failure or whatever, but remember that failure is a part of the grind. It's going to help you realize, okay, these strategies didn't work originally, so I'm gonna have to do something different. I'm gonna have to I'm gonna have to reassess or change my strategy and my approach. So that's why I say, with grinding, yes, you may not succeed or whatever, but you always get something from it. Because I'm sure if I ask each of you guys, what did you learn from that, you'd probably tell me I learned how to
I learned absolutely. I learned that putting in the work doesn't really lead to
but it does though.
It does.
You had the one thing that you got from your story is that you learned how to maintain and how to keep a steady pace. That's hard. What were you gonna say, Trudy?
No, I was saying I know it's true for my experience. Yes, I thought, oh my gosh, I did all this work, I paid this money, have this personal trainer, but going forward, one thing he really taught me was about proper form, right? He was one who was explaining to me, it's not about, the workout you do, it's about your diet as well, right? So there are a lot of things that I got from that I, even to this day, I still apply, right? So it's true.
Yeah, proper form is really important.
And I like what Troy said, that because it's something that I've thought in the past, that failure is not the opposite of success. It's part of it. And the truth is, with that experience, I mean, I have a job now, and and we all have failures where you take so much away from it. So it's the thing is, you learn. I find that I've learned just as much from my failures than I have from my success, and sometimes even more. There's so many valuable lessons I took away from that particular experience. I'm okay, I need to change up my resume, change my cover letters, make it more personal to the firm rather than just general, as in oh, I'm a good person, but here's why I am good for you, and because people want to hear that. So it's certain things you take away from your failures. There's a lot of stories where people have failed, but they're okay, no, I'm going to go back, take what I learned from that, dismiss what's bad, take the good, and just move forward. So it's a good failure. It's not the opposite of success.
But no one could have success without failure, right? It's a necessary method for you to get there. So you need failure with your process of getting successful. So I really like that quote.
Yeah, and okay, so I'm gonna ask you guys another question, sort of story. I'm asking from you guys. Give me a story where you were grinding and it worked out. Give me one story, just one quick story about that.
I'll go last this time.
For me, it just goes back to school, because in our previous podcast I mentioned school was a struggle for me. So, but in college and university, how I was able to get really good grades was that I went through that grind. I put in the work. I was staying up later, getting up early just to get my project done, make sure I was ahead of everyone to hand it in so that it can get so that someone can pre-read it, make sure there's no grammatical errors or anything like that. So I did put in the grind, and I definitely got the result that I wanted.
Okay. What about you, Trudy?
So for me, I'll just use another exercise example. Again, just even with this challenge, just staying on that grind, being consistent with working out. I'm seeing, more of a consistent result in terms of the weight loss and like how my body looks overall. So that's one thing I would say, like where you put in the grind with the workout and it actually paid off. The last time, I put it in, but it wasn't like significant to me. But now I'm seeing it. So yeah.
Yeah, and for me, I'll kind of use like I'll go back to law school again because I mean you guys stuck on the to actually get into law school though, that was a lot of that was even more than the OCIs, right? Because now you're not competing. It's like in the thousands of people that's applying, right? And like the law school that I went to, it's like a pretty good law school. So like a lot of people wanted to get there, and just kind of okay, my first 2 years of university, they were okay, but they weren't the greatest. So I know, okay, these last 2 years of university, they're going to look at that for my acceptance into law school. Look at my volunteer, they're going to look at my work, my employment and stuff. So I had to make sure like from at least a year and a half, 2 years in advance that I'm going to put in the work so that when I'm applying, I would have the best I would put myself the best possible chance of getting accepted. If I don't, then I don't have any regrets. At least I put in the work. Yeah. And I did the first year I got accepted not to the school I wanted to. So I tried again the second year. And I ended up getting accepted, but it was kind of like, it was the opposite of the other feeling. It's like I felt kind of good knowing that I could put in a lot of work and I could get the reward I wanted. So
and that's the thing with grinding. Like you should have that feeling of like this feels good whenever you're grinding because you're putting in that work and you're putting in the amount of effort where at the end of the day you can just look back and be proud of yourself and be like, man, like I did that, you know. And I feel like that's a feeling that everyone should sort of chase and try to go after, right? That one feeling. But one thing that you do get from grinding, whether you fail or whether you succeed, no matter what, you're going to you'll get discipline and also self-control.
Yeah.
Discipline and self-control. Yeah.
Now we'll even like just take some time and break down what that even means for both. So with discipline, when you're grinding, you're gonna have to put again certain things
good
off.
point.
Like you're gonna have to sort of be like, okay, I'm not gonna be distracted by my phone. I'm not gonna be texting. I'm not gonna be watching this show. Like you want you grind for that end goal, right? Yeah. You're trying to get to that end goal.
Could I just jump in here? Because with grinding, I always think of like, if you think of anyone who's like, yo, I've been grinding, and the people who actually were grinding, a lot of times their friends and family are like, they didn't have a life. All they were doing, they were just focused on that one thing. They were just tunnel vision on like, okay, I'm going to be the best music producer I can be. And like they didn't have time for games. They didn't have time for basketball. They didn't have time for anything else. That's what they were focusing on. So yeah, it's true. That's real discipline. It's like you're really just focused on what you're going to do.
Yeah. And again, that's just all a part of you grinding, right? And people are going to be like, this person is crazy, or like, what are you doing? Like, but you know what you want, what your end goal is, and try to just do everything in your power to get to that. And then the second thing that I want to talk about is self-control. Now, how have you guys been with self-control during with this whole challenge?
With the challenge?
Yeah.
I'll start with self-control. I was able to, push past those feelings where I'm just like, I don't want to exercise today. I don't want to put in that work, but I'm like, no, this is my challenge. This is my goal. I'm going to be disciplined and have the self-control to do it. I can choose to maybe go to bed, because there were times where like, the day would go by and it's like 10 p.m. at night and I'm like, oh gosh, I didn't do my exercise. Now I had a choice. It's either you exercise or you go and sleep. And yeah, there were times where I'll be exercising at like 12 in the morning or 11 p.m. I'm doing my workout because I'm like, no, I have this self-control. I can do this. I'm not going to allow sleep or whatever distractions to kind of deter me. So yeah, that's my example.
For me, I've been pretty good with self-control. Obviously, I like running, but obviously not every time I want to run, right? And I knew throughout this process, I didn't have an option. Like, if you want to accomplish your goal, you have to run. So there was a couple of days where I'm just like, I'm feeling really lazy. I'm like, what's the point of running? I've been doing good so I can miss 1 or 2 days. But no, I just was like, let me go out there and run regardless of how I'm feeling, regardless of how tired I am. And with that, once I did go out and run, I did feel good after. And I'm sure Trudy felt the same way, right?
I did it,
Yeah, it's like I pushed you even though I didn't want to. And actually, those are the most satisfying. The ones where you didn't want to, but you did it anyhow because you have that self-control.
Yeah, and like just to answer Troy's question, like I think I've been good with self-control with the definitely with the eating and stuff. And I must say, like I agree with Trudy. Like I noticed there were times, I think one time last week we finished something, outing we were at, and we got back at like 11:30, and I'm like,
still do it.
I'm like, she's not gonna do it, right? But she did go and do it, right? And what I've been doing lately is like, because I'm trying to manage, okay, how can I get to do what I need to do in terms of like the exercise? I've just been getting up early, like get up 5:30 instead of like my regular time, to put in an extra time to do what I need to do. And with the food, it's like on a day-to-day basis, just knowing, okay, I know I'm doing a challenge, so I need to stick to it. Now there was that birthday party where it's like, okay, I'm going to celebrate. I'm going to enjoy this time. The person it's their 60th birthday, have a good time with them. So there was that. But other than that, I've kind of been like, okay, no, I'm doing this for a reason.
Yeah.
We're in this together. We're all doing the challenge. So that's kind of been part of it too.
And
like
I'll
having
say with Terry,
someone to help, like a team to help.
With Terry's self-control, like he likes ice cream, right?
Oh yeah.
I could kind of care less for ice cream. If I have it, I have it. If I don't, whatever. But Terry likes ice cream a lot. So I think it was yesterday.
Yeah.
Like he promised the kids, like, okay, you get ice cream,
It was for the
and
children.
I'm like,
he wasn't doing it.
so I'm like, let me see. Terry went.
She thought I was gonna get it.
Let me
for
see if he's
sure.
gonna get ice cream, and he came back just
Good
2 scoops
job
for the kids,
Hey.
one for
Golf
Tim, one
clap.
for her. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
So self-control.
Actually, and I when I was in there, I was like, maybe I should just get one. But I'm like, nah, man, I'm doing this.
If it was me, I would have gotten one for sure.
I'm like, nah,
You can count on that.
I have to come and talk to you guys.
Yeah,
and,
I was
I'm
impressed. I was
I'm
like,
not gonna
wow,
do
I
it.
was
And I'll be
really
like,
shocked.
if any of the kids don't want it, I'll be like, yeah, I'll eat it,
We're not wasting anything
not
here.
wasting.
Nah.
We're not in the business of wasting.
And I'm very happy that you said that, because with grinding, one of the things that you have to remember is that you're gonna have to choose the harder of the two options. The hardest option is gonna be the one that you're gonna always have to
Go to
lean towards, right? Just to if you're ever questioning, oh, am I really on my grind? Am I picking the thing that's harder to do every single day?
Yeah.
Ask yourself that question. And if you say yes to that, then you're on your grind. But if you're not, if you say no to that, you might need to start being, a little bit more uncomfortable, right?
That's a really good point.
Yeah. Because with the whole thing of like grinding isn't supposed to be something that's comfortable. It's something that like you have to like
Just the word grind.
you gotta do.
Grind,
Grind is
yeah.
just like you think about
Like
it.
friction,
Right?
like,
Exactly, it's friction.
against
You're
what you
going
wanna do.
against
That's
what you
true.
want to do. So I'm gonna just leave you guys with that. Remember, again, we are all sort of gears. So once one gear is turning, it's gonna motivate the other gear to start turning as well.
That's a good
So
point.
And I'm even thinking with like everything that all four of us are doing, like with Terry, if he's ever at the point where he's like, you know what, this like he was doing 5Ks at first. This is so too easy. So he pushed it to 10Ks. Now he's pushing it to half a marathon.
Yeah.
You gotta once you're able to do the marathon easily, you gotta push further, right? Like you gotta.
The
You're right. Troy,
ultra
you have to-
marathon. That's something
my
new
God.
that I've been looking at. Well, I'm
What is that?
Are these people just trying to kill themselves? Like ultra marathon.
Yeah.
But it's like what Troy say. Like it should always be hard. Like there should always be some friction there. I really like that. I never thought of it like that.
that's
Yeah. All right, guys. So thank you so much for joining us this week. Join us next week for part 2, where Trudy and Terry, what are we talking about in part 2?
I'm talking about triggers.
Trigger.
And I'll be talking about maintaining your healthy lifestyle. So
All right. And you guys, again, you don't want to miss out on that one. So we will see you next week. And make sure to like and comment and subscribe. Try to leave us a review on iTunes.
Yeah,
and
Apple
is there anything
Podcasts.
else?
And if anyone, if something resonates to you, just share it with someone.
Yeah, definitely. Just do that for us. We would appreciate that. Thank you so much for listening this week. So bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Have a good one.